Hello, this is Danny Ceballos with Unleashed Consulting and the Best Boss Bootcamp Minute. Today's letter is from Stumped in Stroudsburg. And Stumped writes, how do I stop people from quiet quitting, from staying in their jobs with bad attitudes and doing basically the minimum of what's required of them? So there are three things that I want you to keep in mind, Stumped. The first is I want you to check yourself, right? I want you to start thinking about when you are in communication with your direct reports around, and especially if you're concerned about their attitude and their engagement, is to be really careful with the quality of the relationship that you're having with folks. Specifically, I really want you to lean into being a listener. So I want you to keep this number in mind, 60-40. The idea being that when you are in communication, especially in one-to-one direct reports, I want you to be 60% listening and 40% speaking. A lot of times leaders and managers kind of flip that around and thinking that they need to speak more, but your job, and this may be a challenge, is to bring out folks so that they are able to say what they want and need, and you're able to respond to those things, right? So that's the first thing. Practice the 60-40 rule. The second is I want you to nail that intrinsic motivation that we've been talking about in other Best Boss Bootcamp minutes. Identify your folks' core why and respond specifically to that. So what is their core purpose? What is their core values around the work that they are doing? What is it that they really need from the work that they're doing and the engagement that they are having with your organization and your team? So nail their intrinsic motivation. We're really good about the extrinsic motivation, right? We understand how to pay people, how to pay people fairly, but we're not really good about nailing intrinsic motivation. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is we're at a very interesting time now, coming out of COVID, coming out of the past few years. And so we all have been through, all of us, through a traumatic experience, right? Sometimes it's with a big T, sometimes with a little t. So the third thing is to recognize the trauma that we've all been through and understand that our brains are rewired in a lot of ways, that we're much more in the by and large, we're much more in the fight or flight mode, right? So our brains have now been rewired because of trauma to really respond to our environments and our work responsibilities a little bit differently than they were a few years ago. So to recognize that folks are coming out of that place and see what you can do to have a trauma-informed workplace. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that in our next Best Boss Bootcamp Minute. But in the interim, I want you to take a look at what it means to have a trauma-informed workplace. How can you work on your listening skills? How can you work on your empathy? How can you work on your ability to have deep, powerful conversations with your direct reports? All of that is more important than ever to mitigate this quiet quitting phenomena. All right, hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have questions. This is Danny Ceballos with Unleashed Consulting and the Best Boss Bootcamp Minute. Take care, everybody. Bye now.